Hello everyone and welcome to another mixed sports show presented by the BJ Show. Let's get it on the board. And what's on the mixed sports show? We've got the Ninja A-League women's competition. We have the Suzuki UT men's competition for the A-League. We have the NBL 26 round 21 results and round 22 final round, and we'll have the National Basketball League for the women's final series. We'll have all the semi-finals, but both 1 and 2 will play in the grand final series. We'll also have the NBL 26 ladder will be shared on next week's show. But for now, let's get on with it. We start with the Ninja A-League Women's Competition, and we're going to share the final scores on your left hand side and then the previews on your right hand side. So there might be old games maybe not scheduled in round 17, so let's get straight into the first game on your screen. Game 1. Western Sydney Warriors vs Newcastle Jets. The final score is 1-1. Game number 2, Brisbane Roar vs Sydney FC, and well done to Sydney FC taking a 4-0 over Brisbane. Game number 3, Wellington Phoenix vs Central Coast Mariners, which the final score is 1-2. Well done to Central Coast Mariners with the win. And we had the two Melbourne teams went head to head, and it was the 9-1, it was a draw. With Canberra United and a few teams may not be shared on this schedule, I do apologise. But we'll find that out maybe a little bit down the track. For round 17 results, we go to round 18 previews, and we've got some great games to share. Here are them on your right. For game number 1 is Melbourne Victory vs Wellington Phoenix, Central Coast Mariners vs Melbourne City, Canberra United vs Western Sydney Warriors, Newcastle Jets vs Perth Glory, Brisbane Roar vs Adelaide United, and the team has the week off is Sydney FC. Enjoy the week off after that big win in Brisbane. So on you must see who I went for during that time. So there you go. We're now going to the men's A-League competition. Let's get there right now. Well, the same thing we did in the Ninja A-League Women's Comp. We go to round 17 into round 18. The usual, just different rounds, might be the same, unsure from that before. But anyway, let's get into game 1 of the results for round 17. The first game is Western Sydney Warriors versus Wellington Phoenix, 2-2 draw. Well done. The next game is, for game number 2 is Perth Glory versus Newcastle Jets, and the winner for that game is Newcastle Jets taking a 3-1 in Perth. Big winners there. Game number 3, Melbourne Victory versus Brisbane Roar, and the winner for this game is no one. 1-1 draw. In the next game, we come to game number 4. Sydney FC versus Adelaide United, and Adelaide United take a 2-1 victory. In the next game, well, because of this game, it's not been results between Melbourne City versus Central Coast Mariners is yet to be shared. So just want to let you all know, so not sharing the date, the 7th of April, this is the final game for round 17 result. Is not been shared, but this will be shared in the next few weeks. So sorry for any inconvenience, this game is not yet played. Round 18 previews. First game is Adelaide United Perth Glory, Wellington Phoenix versus Auckland FC. Oh, that'll be a good game to watch. Another Melbourne Derby. Both Melbourne City and Victory go head to head at Amy Park. Oh, what a good game that'll be. Central Coast Mariners versus Sydney, the Western Sydney Warriors. Newcastle Jets and Mafama Bulls to finish off the round. So there's going to be some really good entertainment, some draws, some wins. But I reckon the first game, Adelaide United, they should take the win there. And the Auckland and the Wellington Phoenix, that could be a draw. I feel it's pretty tough, but Melbourne City will upset the Melbourne Victory. So there you go. Okay, time to get some hoops of the NBL 26. Round 21 results to round 22 previews. Alright, let's get there right now. There you go on your screen. And boy, what an entertainment. I hope you enjoy much as I do. Do you like this? Give me this a like. Much appreciated for your support. And hopefully you'll enjoy watching this so far. So, let's get on with the results for round 21 before we get into the last round of the NBL 26. The official All Boy. There's no weekend basketball for last round. It's between Wednesday night, Thursday night, and Friday night. Wow, we've got some great hoops. Alright, let's get to game number 1. It's Kent Highlands and Melbourne United. Well done to Melbourne United taking an 89-85 win, holding them spot to play finals. Game number 2 is the Eel Hawks hosting Sydney Kings. And the winner is Sydney Kings, a little bit too good. The final score is a big, comfortable victory, 120-64 for the Sydney Kings. The next game is, for game number 3, Perth Wildcats vs Brisbane Bullets. The final score is Brisbane Bullets, very good effort, but it's Perth Wildcats taking a 94-75 win. Or has Perth Wildcats have enough to make finals? We'll find out very soon. On to the next game result, and which is South East Melbourne Phoenix vs Tasmania Jack Jumpers. The final score is 120-104. Well done to South East Melbourne Phoenix with a big win in front of their supporters. The next game is Melbourne United vs the Eel Hawks. And boy, that was a decent win there. That was the Eel Hawks taking 100-91. The next game is Sydney Kings Perth Wildcats. Well done to Sydney Kings taking 102-94, which was the Adelaide 36ers versus the New Zealand Breakers. And it was the Adelaide 36ers taking a 92-89. I'll just give you a little bit of this is game of the round. New Zealand credit, great effort. It's been unfortunate. This successful of challenges doesn't go towards Mike Wells, one of the worst challenges decision. And oh my goodness, they won both 2 jump balls. So pretty effort. You see the Adelaide 36ers, not just winning by 3, and that's all you need to do. It's win by 1 point. But I went to that game, the crowd was 10,044, and it was very, very loud. I went with a mate. We were on we're right near the bench of the LA 36ers. We're basically on their side, but on the opposite side. So we're on the corner. There's the bench for the teams. And if you know the stadium or the arena really well, you know exactly what I mean. But we're on a very difficult angle to watch a lot of the game. But I think New Zealand play well. New Zealand, credit, heads up, play well. Congratulations to Adelaide, claiming on top 2 or shared the ladder on the next episode. Let's get to previews. Well, and then we've got some exciting breaking news, which is the first time in over 2 decades. So let's get back to the action of round 22, which is the first game. Everyone gets 1 game for the final game. So the 3 days of basketball, starting on the first night with the Wednesday night for hoops basketball for the final round between Tasmania Jack Jumpers and the Eel Hawks. I'm going to say Tasmania Jack Jumpers was the win. Next game is New Zealand Breakers and the Kent Highlands. New Zealand Breakers, I think they'll be safest at this point. The next game is Melbourne United, South East and Melbourne Phoenix. What a game that'll be. I think the Phoenix, the South Eastern Melbourne Phoenix, are both playing at the same arena. It'll be tough, it'll be close, but I think the Phoenix will be a slightly better chance of playing that top 3 to really finish the season really well. And the final game, ladies and gentlemen, we've got 2 games to go. Brisbane Bullets hosting the Sydney Kings, and we go to west of the Perth Wildcats at the RAC Arena, known a common for the jungle. They host the Adelaide 36ers. Could this be amazing series to see the Adelaide 36ers really find themselves on the road and take this win? I think so. We have the best game to last. Even the South Eastern Melbourne and the Sydney Kings as well. We've got some great games. My opinion is Adelaide's got the toughest game, as well as the Finnies. I think they have their rivals. Sydney Kings should not just walk in. They should prepare, because Brisbane will come. They did against Adelaide, and Brisbane, just play your brand of basketball. Sydney Kings are a good team, but yeah. Alright, let's get into the next one. I've got some big news to share. Okay, so as we know, I said we have not had this in over 2 decades, since 1999. I was only 7 years old. I barely remember this, but it was the most common thing back mainly common in the 90s. South Australian Victoria was really the record, known as the Big V, but they're known Victoria in today's AFL Origin. What do you think? I think it's good. I think it's fantastic. But is it high risk for players? Another thing is, well done to Victoria, went to Perth, being your best strength side, same with Perth. Perth, Western Australia, my goodness, hosting this game, 53,000. And yeah, I think it's great. Hopefully SA comes Tasmania, or they'll be a great rival. You know, it'd be great to have different teams coming, and we have this fun exhibition. And, you know, it's great to play for your state, but it's great generally for the AFL to have footy back before the major. Pre-season's on its way, so it's pretty exciting. Alright, let's now time to wrap it up right here on the Mixed Sports Show. Let's get it on. That's right. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like it, give us a like, subscribe down below, hit that notification. You don't want to miss them. Not just mixed sports, but plenty of AFL quizzes coming your way. Yep, that's right. We also got, it's your thank you for your support. It helps a lot. You know, the goal's rising up for this watch time, so thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Also, the biggest thing is next week on the Mixed Sports Shows, we'll have all the NBL 26 final results of round 22. We'll have the ladder. We'll have the Women's National Basketball League update. We'll have all that to come all on one show. We'll have the usual A-League update, so you do not want to miss a thing. Big show next week. So, thank you so much. And that's next week, a bit of a preview. But we'll see you next week here on the BJ Show. Thank you so much. Bye for now. Peace.